This is Dr. Champion. It is Thursday, April 26, 2007. We're going to discuss some problems of the past and some discoveries of the present. As most of you are aware, and we may try to get some video in of some of the stuff we do over in Rosamond, California, where we actually took and made some silver, and we actually converted the outside skin to gold. Here's some of the similar type products. I don't know if we can see these or not. I'm sure a camera operator can figure it out how to do it. But anyway, we were excited because the original work started in Thousand Oaks, California, where we actually were able to take a certain type of fungi and put it in the presence of silver, and silver acted as a germicidal agent to the fungi and mutated the fungi into a microbial entity that we now have a patent pending, or we have filed for patent pending on. I assume it's correct word, legal terms. But the what happened was, and it's a shame it took a year and a half to find this out, but we would start off with a fungi. And this fungi was about, 3 nanometers in total diameter. And we would send this fungi to a piece of silver. Now the fungi would hit the silver would act on the surface area, would act as a germicidal, have a germicidal effect on it, and from this we would have spout off our new W1, which is a rod-shaped fungi or microbe, and it's about 1 nanometer. On the surface, right here, this area, let me use a different color here. We'll use red here. This area right here, this would be biological transmutation, or this would be gold. Now, we would bombard the silver, and the silver was a large piece. Silver, typically, they were about 0.5 millimeters in diameter. We would bombard this, and we had biological transmutation here, and this would stick to the surface. Now, what we would do, and you can see this in some of our older videos, we would get large tubes of silver, pounds and pounds, several kilos of silver, and we would run this agent through, and it would mutate the silver in about 4 to 5 days, the surface of the silver. Now this was just a very thin coating we would have here, and it would just coat. Now, after a period of time, we would stop seeing the gold plating on the silver. We start seeing some other colors, some dark blues, blacks, and all. We assumed this to be other precious metals, but in reality, it was probably some base metals or just some tarnish oxidation that was occurring. Now the question is, why did we have all the pretty gold, and why was it so thin, and why didn't we get into production? Well, that's what this video is about. That's what the discussion is about, and this is what we are going to talk with you and explain where we made the mistakes and what we're going to do to correct them. Now, this is what happened here. I'll leave this up. So, and we'll come over and we'll talk about something else. over here. In our production, and I'm talking about mistakes first before we talk about the correction of them. We would have a large tank. All this tank would be 8 foot long, and we would pump it through tubes that would have silver in here. And this solution, we'd have about 160 pounds of solution in here, a large volume of solution in here. But we pump it up through these tanks, and these tubes would have silver. I'll try to find some other video to splice in here that has this. I know we get plenty of still pictures, but what would happen, we would put our starting fungi into this, pump them through these tubes, and it would go through this same process here as mutating. Hit the silver, mutate into our W1, gold would form, and the silver coated. Now, due to either ignorance or lack of fully understanding, of course, for those of you involved in the Rosamond project, you would know the fact that we had no sophisticated equipment like we have at our laboratory in St. George. We didn't have the scanning electron microscope. We didn't have the ICP mass spectrometer. We didn't have the gas chromatograph mass spectrometers or the flame ionization detectors. We didn't have any of that equipment over there. So what happened was I failed to realize, Dr. Ouyang failed to realize that if the reaction was happening exactly like this, even though we knew it was happening like that, it skipped us from the fact that we went from this to large tanks, and we would get large tubes of silver that was coated with gold. And it was gold, it was an allotropic silver. We had people like, what was it, Don Ross or something like that, that proved that we had micro amounts of gold and all. And this was recovered and seen by several people, Jim Moore and others. But what happened was that when the original fungi hit the silver and mutated into our W1 microbe, the W1 microbe was immune to the silver. So if we came in and put it through our system, we would have, and we brought a W1 microbe in here. Say we had a W1 come up and hit here, it would just come off, and because it was immune, it liked the silver. W1 was built to prevent death and keep the species alive, so it was immune to silver. So once the original fungi mutated, there was no more mutation that would occur from the W1. So we had to only get the one-shot mutation from the fungi into the W1. Once the W1 mutated, then it went on. Now, we have a great use for W1 because the W1 is being used, and I'll show you at the end of this video, give you a little tour of our lab here. It's being used throughout our laboratory in the production of liquid and gaseous fuels from geological formations such as coal, oil shale, and from renewable sources like corn, switchgrass, and other items. So, to resolve the issue, we've come up with two concepts now. One, our lab managers were very nice enough to finish out a project where we put our original fungi. Let's see, I'm going to give us some more room to work. I should buy bigger boards for bigger guys. But as you can probably already figure out, and for those of you who understand the concept of this, this is a surface reaction. Now, if you had a piece of the silver that big, and you had, say, 1 kilogram, you would have a surface area of X. Now, if we had a piece of silver like this, which is just a fraction the size of this, so say we have 1.0 kilograms, our surface area of this, of 1 kilogram of this, would be several orders of magnitude, several zeros you add to the back of it, the surface size. So to find out how we can do this, what we did was we took our fungi plus colloidal silver, which colloidal silver has a diameter of about 1 nanometer. Very small, the diameter of colloidal silver. So, and what we ended up with was a tremendous amount more of gold, only from the fact we had a much greater surface area. Now, this was tested 2 days ago using our inducted coupled plasma mass spectrometer. We're in process of collecting it physically today. It was seen yesterday by our ICP, our scanning electron microscope and EDAX detector. And those pictures and all will be available associated with this movie. But by doing this, we were able to produce a tremendous or a larger amount of gold. Now let's take this one step further. We know now that we have one shot at our fungi. Our fungi is going to mutate into our W1 bacteria, which is required for all of our energy work, only once. So, and it will only mutate with the germicidal effect of the silver. By knowing this, we have to keep an increased supply of our W1 and keep building it so we can keep making our bacteria, and at the same time we're making gold, but we're making our bacteria. Hence, by decreasing the surface size of the silver, because if you have, for example, we'll do this here. We have a piece of silver like this. We are only going to make just a few atoms of gold on the outside of the silver. Now, if we had a billion pieces of silver this size, we still would make a few atoms of gold right on the outside of this surface. This means that we would make orders of magnitude more gold by decreasing the surface size of the silver. And we do that by going to nanoparticles, which is very easy to achieve in the colloidal state of silver. So this is the mistake of the past, and the way we're going to correct it in the future is very simple. We're going to need to make and convert high levels of silver into colloidal silver and subject it to our original fungi, which we will start building and making our original fungi. Dr. Buckley will be involved in helping us make the bio readers for the original fungi, and from that we'll just be able to resolve the energy crisis of the world, along with making a tremendous amount of gold in the process. Now, I have part of my staff that is watching this being made, and I know you probably have a lot of questions. Everybody receiving this will be on a web page. My email address will be on the bottom of it. If you want to email me, you may. I prefer most questions go to Dr. O. Yang, which I'll put his email address on the bottom of this too. Thank you. Have a great and wonderful Golden Day.